Hello everybody, how's it going? ZDS here, and today we're going to be playing Metroid Prime 2 Echoes because it has been a while since I've done anything Metroid related to the channel. I do have some, maybe some countdown videos or something that I could do later on. Also, forgive me about my fucking menu stuff. I'm, tinkering around with stuff right now because, the volume, rocker on my computer is fucking up. But anyway, I haven't done anything Pokemon related or Metroid related for the channel for quite some time. Not to mention I haven't even uploaded much of anything in quite some time. So as a result, I wanted to do some Metroid games, and Metroid Prime I didn't want to play today, so we're going to instead play Metroid Prime 2 for the first time on this channel. So let's go ahead and get to it. Also, for the record, two things will be noted here. First of all, I will not be playing on hard mode. You can go fuck yourself if you think I'm going to. Secondly, there will be two cheat codes that I will be utilizing throughout the entirety of the game. I have already shown a video on one of those cheat codes before on the channel. And the other will be the moon jump cheat. So the first cheat that I will be using will obviously be the moon jump. And I can demonstrate that here. As you can see, I'm holding a B button and I'm jumping normally. Otherwise, I jump... oops. Right there. Otherwise, I jump normally. Although I don't really like that the side jump doesn't work in this game. But as you can see just now, the Phazon Beam thing will be the other cheat code that I will be using. Now, this beam I will be using for a couple of reasons. First of all, because it will allow me to get items such as the Power Bomb much earlier than intended, because the Phazon Beam in this game, otherwise known as the Debug Beam by some people, and it has a good reason for having that name, the only obstacle that are destructible that it cannot destroy are Seeker Missile doors, because you obviously need to hit 5 targets to destroy Seeker Missile door. However, literally every other door in the game, that includes all the beam doors, any of the power bomb door, the fucking light beam, dark beam, annihilator beam door, all of those doors can be destroyed or accessed using the Phazon Beam. And I'm going to be referring to it as the Phazon Beam, even though it technically isn't. When we get to the end of the game and I end up fighting Dark Samus' second form, you'll see what it actually is. It's actually the beam that it shows when you charge the, when you use the charge beam on Dark Samus' Phazon projectiles in the final fight of the game. And then you suck in those projectiles and then you shoot her back with them. But with the cheat code that I will leave in the description of this Let's Play, you can use the beams. You normally would have to hold the L and R buttons at the same time to activate the cheat. However, sometimes the cheat just works when it wants to, and when it doesn't, it doesn't. So you're gonna have to just take it on faith sometimes that it's gonna work, because there will be times where it won't. Now, the Phazon Beam can activate dark and light portals. It can also destroy objects that can be only destroyed with objects such as the Morph Ball, the Power Bomb in the form of Bendisian blocks, as well as yellow doors, and it can even destroy red missile doors and yellow or green super missile doors. Again, like I said, the only obstacle you can't destroy are Seeker missile doors because their weak spot is not the door itself. The door itself is absolutely, completely immune to everything. So the only way to actually destroy it is via the Seeker missile itself. So, since I've explained that, you can actually see here, this is a telluric alloy. We can blow it up. Now in here, as soon as if you decide to do with the cheat that I did, you can get this missile expansion immediately after going through the dark portal that I was just in. Pretty damn handy. The Hyper Beam cheat will also be very useful before we get each of the respective beam enemies. They kill almost every common enemy in a single shot, and can even kill some bosses very, very quickly. We'll actually see, I'll show you guys one of those bosses that kills very quickly when I get to a Morbus. Because a Morbus can actually be killed in one shot using this method. Also, expect me to hit the fucking map button a lot, because I have it mapped to a different button than you would normally think it would be mapped to. I'm using an Xbox 360 controller, since it's just more comfortable than my Switch controller is right now. So I have it mapped separately. Also, thanks to the moon jump cheat, there will be a lot of obstacles that will not be gated to me. So obtaining certain items, for example, let me think. I can get to certain places without the screw attack or the grappling beam. And also, while I'm here, you'll also notice something else. I don't know if you can really tell from this particular room, but on the emulator that I'm using, I currently have a setting on Dolphin called Disable Fog activated. So all fog, or things that are relating to fog of some variety, the graphic for fog is disabled. What that does for me is it makes it a lot easier to see certain things in the game. Now, it is not essential, and the emulator even recommends that you do not turn it off, because there are sometimes gameplay mechanics. I think in Luigi's Mansion this is a thing, where parts of the game require they require the lighting differences of fog to implement certain game mechanics. But in Metroid Prime 2 in particular, disabling fog makes things a lot easier to see before you get the gravity boost, and just in general, overall. You'll especially see that happen when we get to Tortoise Fog. Now, I can't get in here from here now. What I have to do, because I can blow those doors up, but what I have to do is I actually have to leave the room, and then go 2 doors ahead, and then come back. So what I'm going to do is just head forward first. Head through this little tunnel over here. Another thing as well, I will not be doing any of the logbook scans. I will probably activate the full logbook cheat at some point later down the road, and maybe before the final boss, I will showcase all of the logbook scans. But for the most part, I'm going to be leaving those entirely untouched. Now, there is also a way to get up here, and I have shown it before, to get the missile expansion here early, without the moon jump or anything like that. But I figure for the sake of clarity, maybe I'll try it again here. Now again, if I'm holding the R button, the moon jump does not work. So if I manage to get up here with this method, and I don't blame you if you haven't seen that video, it is pretty old. But this method is how you can get the first missile expansion twice. I call it the 100. It's called the 101% glitch. And like my body sways every time I do it. So this is entirely possible. Again, I've showcased it before. It's a little bit trickier in the original Metroid Prime 2. It's a bit easier in the trilogy version. Well, if I can't get it in a few more attempts, I'm going to go ahead and say screw it. This is going to be 101% playthrough, which means this is required, so I'm just going to go ahead and over it. Again, if you want to see that trick being performed correctly, I will probably leave a link to my video showing it in both versions of the game in the description. Cutscenes will also be skipped, obviously, because I've played this game a numerous amount of times, and I don't really care about the cutscenes all that much. So we got that. So now I'm going to try to reactivate the... I'm going to try to reactivate it. We'll see how that goes. I got to go through here. I'm holding the the L button and the R button simultaneously. And sometimes it just takes some time, so just hold it. Sometimes this helps, going on a morph ball for a few seconds, getting out. L, L2, basically. There we go. Yeah, so it just depends when the game wants to do it. It's very picky like that. I don't quite understand why it doesn't do it every time. But in the event that you thought that it wasn't possible, there you go. I don't believe that I can get in here yet. I think I'm just gonna avoid that, because I'm pretty sure I need to get at least a Morph Ball Bomb before the missile expansion in that thing appears. Alright, so with this weapon I can go ahead and blow up all the bomb stuff. Now when blowing up, because the actual power bomb, the first power bomb you can get with this method is behind this block. There we go. And power bomb almost immediately after landing on Aether. Perfect. Okie dokie. Now that we have our wonderful bomb, we gotta kill some fucking wasps getting in our way. I at least want to get to Umos for calling episode 1 done. Now, one might think, why do I need the power bombs if I have the Hyper Beam? Because the Hyper Beam does the same shit that the power bombs can do, along with, like, every other weapon. And the main reason for that is simply because of consistency, really. Because there is times where I can't activate the beam in an essential firefight, or times where I just need it. Alright, try it again. I know I have a power bomb now, but I'd rather just, you know, use this. After I just stated that, like, oh, if you ever have a thing, why do that? The main reason for the power bomb getting is because I never played Metroid Prime 2 without 100%ing the game. It's just the kind of person I am. I never play any of the Metroid games without 100%ing them. With the exception of Metroid Zero Mission and Metroid Samus Returns, those are 2 games that I did not beat my first time 100%ing them. Actually, most of the Metroid games I didn't beat that way the first time. Okay, this thing is kind of like, come on, die. Are you really that fucking resilient? Oh. Also, due to the cheat, there is a chance that the game will freeze on me completely. Hopefully that doesn't happen very often, but it is a possibility. And I just skipped the entire stupid boost ball world traveling puzzle to get the Sunburst, because there's really no point in it. So I'm going to go through this door over here as well. On the other side of this door, of this chasm here, is actually a super missile door. Oh, but on the other side of it is one of those blocks with the crystals on it that can only open from the other side. But I mainly came in here just for the energy. Again, Moon Jump and the Phazon Beam make this a lot easier. I'll also be interchanging between calling it the Phazon Beam and the Hyper Beam, because I don't know, because in Metroid Prime 3 it's called the Hyper Beam, but the Hyper Beam in Super Metroid has nothing to do with Phazon, so Then again, it's also called the Hyper Beam in Metroid Prime 1. It's kind of weird. Probably one of the reasons that some people actually believe that Prime and the regular series do not exist in the same universe. Makes me kind of dubious about Prime 4 on if it's going to follow the continuity of the series. Because there's only so far that we can, like, take the Prime concept as being in between Metroid 1 and 2. And, I mean, Prime 1, 2, Hunters, and 3 all happened in the span of about a year or 2, so that's not a lot of time, you know. Okay. La-da-da-da. Now, see, now I got deactivated again. Like I said, it pretty much just does it when it wants to. It happens a lot when I'm entering and leaving rooms or going through elevator transitions. I'll go ahead and save here, though, just so I don't have to do all this shit again in case the game freezes. In the go. That way this can at least be a good cutoff point in case something goes wrong. I'll try to keep these videos pretty beefy, actually, because I don't like, I'm not a huge fan of the short Let's Plays right now. Oh, and you don't actually have to fight the beetle in this room. You can literally just, if you skipped the item loss glitch, you can use the space jump boost to get out of there, or if you have the moon jump, you can just hover on over. You don't actually need the energy control unit that you get from the Dark Alpha Splinter. It's actually not even an item. It's more a cutscene than anything else. Back of my knee is itching. A weird part of the body to itch. Okay. Every time with the yawning, I swear. Oh, and the reason mostly that I'm uploading this, or recording this, as opposed to Bioshock, because I did announce on the channel that I was going to be producing a Bioshock Let's Play, and I was going to release it, but that Let's Play on 3 separate occasions was immediately copyright flagged for a music track at the beginning of the game. I pretty much just gave up on that because I'm not going to upload a video to the main channel if I can't monetize it. Plus, I can't really afford to have, even if it's not an actual strike, it's just a copyright notice, I can't afford to have those on the channel. Because if you get a copyright notice, and this is from my experience on YouTube, getting a copyright notice and just leaving it there tends to make it, tends to make your channel more noticeable later on for copyright strikes. But alright, I suppose the first thing we'll do, we'll just get to Agon Waste. I suppose, from there, I'll continue on in the next video afterwards. There's a lot of the fucking, the minor enemies in this game you can basically just avoid. There isn't really much of anything except for the bosses and the environment of Dark Aether that are really that harmful. Everything else just exists to slowly chip away at your health. Which, yes, can get annoying, but it's not at all a real problem. Even on hard mode, I mean, health pickups are plentiful. Yawning again. Don't forget also, before you leave here, there is a missile expansion right behind that little webbling. So now we have 35 missiles and 2 energy tanks, plus a power bomb before we even head to the first real area of the game. The Temple Grounds is basically just a hub network for the other 3 major areas. The Corvus Bog, the Agon Waste, and the Sanctuary Fortress. Alright, now here is where you can really tell that I have fog disabled. So, for the sake of clarity here, I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to let this cutscene play out. Because over here, I'm going to go to the Graphics tab, Enhancements, and I'm currently hovering over the Disable Fog feature. That way, I'm gonna re-enable it to let you know what the real difference looks like. So, let me just go ahead and you can get a good look. Very stormy, but it doesn't look all that dusty. Meanwhile, if I disable fog, did you see that? Now I'll disable fog again and re-enable it. Just like that. A huge lighting difference. It turns from a very dry-looking desert to a stormy kind of stormy area. Similar in some ways to how it looks like on Talon Overworld in Metroid Prime 1. And again, I'll do it in here too. Just enable fog, disable fog. It's a small thing, but I definitely enjoy it a lot. But that's going to go ahead and do it for episode 1 of Metroid Prime 2. If you guys liked the video, please share the love, give ahead and give me a subscribe and like the video, and share it with your friends if you want to see more. And let me know what you thought of the video in the comment section. And until next time, this has been ZDS, making it fun one video at a time, and I will see you guys in the next video.